Greetings, everybody. How you doing? Yesterday, I did a live stream talking about the murder that happened in Takadanobaba. It was a really difficult thing to talk about yesterday. We got about 500, 600 comments, something like that. There's a lot of discussions going on about this topic. So I thought I would take a look at your comments from yesterday, try to respond to them, and also give you some updates on what we've learned yesterday. It'd been about 24 hours, but they were still discovering stuff. I think it's important to let the police do what they do, investigate, let the reporters dig and find out the cause of this. But we now realize that it wasn't just a random stabbing on the streets. There was issues going on behind the scene that the reporters were able to finally dig out. And we have here one comment. The first one here is just to kind of give an update. And this will be the last that I talk about this. The victim, a 22-year-old online influencer, and the attacker identified right there. A 42-year-old individual was alleged ties to the streamer, borrowed $13,500 US from the attacker and never returned the money. She was sued, and then the court even ordered her to return the money. She refused. Sadly, this young woman learned a very harsh life lesson. So we're learning more about this, and obviously there's life lesson. Murder is not the answer. Attacking somebody is not the answer. Violence is not the answer. But I mean, it seems like this person has done everything that he can. We saw with the former Prime Minister Abe, who was assassinated, and a really awful thing, because a citizen of Japan felt wronged in the way that he had handled one of the unusual churches from Korea. It's a very scandalous thing. Anyways, his mother had money was taken from him and was conned out of money from something the government was supporting, apparently, and there was an assassination. That does not justify what happened, but certainly I think the reporters are going to dig into this a lot more. We just didn't know about a lot of this stuff yesterday, and my point, though, was this. The headlines in Japan, and I read your comments, and I want to say thank you to everybody, but if you take a look at it right here, I'm going to put it to the side here. The headlines are saying here, live haishin, nama haishin chu. Everything says live streaming, live haishin, live streamer. This is something this is, I think, what people aren't getting about this. In my live stream yesterday, and how I connected this with the Nuisance streamers in Japan. You might not see the direct relationship, but the thing with the stream yesterday was that I'm talking about. I'm going to put this stick away. I'm talking about the fact that the news media here in Japan is using nama haishin chu, live streamer, in such a negative light. It absolutely has an impact. The reality is that this had nothing to do with the live stream. It had something to do with a loan that you took out. I got it. The comments overwhelmingly were talking about this. But the overall picture of it is the perception that the Japanese citizens have, the Japanese netizens, the people here in Japan have about live streaming in general. And this is what it's all about. Every single headline for the first 24 hours, before we had a lot of information, live streamer, live haishin chu, coupled with the Nuisance streamers over the past week, the last 2-3 months, in fact, since a little bit over a month now since the Sapporo Snow Festival. A lot of disruptive people came here from abroad, and then this happened as well. And there are other things with streamers, in particular with female streamers, that have happened, and it's just a heartbreaking thing. But this is tied in so much, and I know you don't see it if you're reading the news abroad, but if you're looking in the Japanese news media, all you got to do is talk about this. The first one, Yahoo News, Yahoo's still a thing here in Japan. I think they're owned by SoftBank. It says, nama haishin chu. The first thing that they lead with was live stream. In the middle of a live stream, this happened. So it all really does play into it. And the media, the traditional media, does not like live streamers, of course not, because they're the traditional media versus the new media. There's a whole thing inside here. And despite how you feel about the traditional news media in your country, in Japan, the news media in Japan is still very much respected and followed, very much like probably we did in the 1980s in the United States. But you can see here, all of these have nama haishin girl. The last one here from Tere News says nama haishin girl. Like, it's what I do. It's what Ice Poseidon, Johnny Somali, a lot of the Nuisance streamers do. So it's all really tied in the perception in Japan, and that's what I was talking about. The entire IRL streaming, it just equals toxicity into Japanese people. It just equals, it's not good, it's dirty. So if you see a guy like me talking on the street like I am right now, I'm minding my own business, talking to a phone, it's not a great thing. I'm in a wide area, and I want to show you some a comment that I received from a Japanese viewer, which I thought was really good here. This kind of summed it up. Where do I got that here? I got a bunch of these comments queued up. This one's a video because I was able to translate it for you guys live, but this comes from Okamoto Taro, who writes in here a very thoughtful comment on my talk yesterday, and I think it sums it up really good, but this is from a Japanese point of view. I think this is a very good study and a confession of my worries for the future. This is a Japanese citizen. The part that was allowed as a gray area, and I talked about gray areas in Japan, this is where we live in Japan, and why we get some freedoms and things that typically very conservative culture, we can get away with things because of that really large gray area. Due to the goodwill and tolerance of those around them is now disappearing. That gray area is disappearing due to the influence of idiots, which shows the future state of Japanese society. Rather than this incident, I think the impact of annoying kick streamers centered around Ice Poseidon, is coming from a Japanese citizen, will be greater in the future. If you are shooting a video for YouTube, please contact John in advance and check his past performance. All right, you can do that if you'd like to. I get a lot of people contacting me, so John will not be rejected. I think the Japanese translation might be different. However, with live streaming, how you doing?
Hello, Mr. John.
Here for good reasons.
I saw you stream. I was on the Yamanote line. I saw all your stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
California, Southern California.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
How long is your trip for?
2 weeks until the 26th of March.
Oh, you want to say hi to everybody?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
No?
Yes, I'm camera shy. But,
Oh, okay.
Your streams. So I just want to say hi in person.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Love your videos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the temple, the postman tomorrow.
Oh, okay. In Yamadera?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm going tomorrow.
I'm jealous. If you have weather like this, it's gonna be really nice.
Yes. Because yesterday it was raining and all that stuff, and it was opposite.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Take some postcards.
That's why I watched your videos. When I saw it, I definitely have to go there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you see Sasahara-san, tell him I say hi.
I will. That's why I would love to meet him too.
Absolutely.
But I'll let you do your stream.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You take care, John.
My pleasure. Yeah. See you later. That was nice. See, I think the vast majority of the interactions, like not all of them, have been something like this. So it's a reason why I'm not too worried about it. But initially yesterday, I was quite worried about it, just because you look at the face of your wife and you're like, "Are you really sure you want to do this anymore?" And I said, "Well, look, I'm not doing anything bad. People kind of come to find me. I usually give them a 'You found me' card. I think I have one left here. He's gone now. Uh-oh. Well, it's not, I'm really happy that he came to say hi. Anyways, to get back to this here, I think the impact of annoying kick streamers. In the future, there should be a rule, and I like this part here. As a minimum, live streaming is prohibited in small spaces such as public transportation, such as trains. Not only were they causing a nuisance, they were also taking endless pictures of others. This is huge. Outside cameras instead of taking selfies in groups. This is the same as voyeurism. Taking pictures on the train is a crime. I didn't know about this because there's so many chikans, like perverts that have been doing upskirt shots and really nasty stuff. There's a reason why when you buy a mobile phone in Japan, you cannot turn off the camera button, the click. It's so annoying, Japanese smartphones. Apple's had this since the start of the iPhone. When you take a picture, you can't silence it unless you have a third-party app, and even then, I think that might even be illegal. It has the ching sound. The reason why is to let people know that you took a photo. It's really embarrassing if I'm taking a screenshot because everybody on the train's looking, did you take a picture of me? It's something that a lot of Japanese are worried about, especially on trains. So taking pictures and video of people on trains is not a good idea. When I do it, it's usually outside the window, and then I show myself when I exit the train. There's ways to do it, but even then, again, I'm talking about that gray area that's disappearing. And now we have Okamoto-san here, who is saying that perhaps we should make sure to get rid of this. So that's it's telling. A lot of the Japanese netizens, the people here in Japan, are just tired of live streams. Nobody wants to be in some jerk's live stream. Nobody. And I've replayed last year, in the past, when this was a big issue, Johnny Somali's live streams on subway trains, where he was saying, talking about the atomic bombings and sitting next to people who can't speak any English, making an ass out of himself, but really embarrassing the people who he was sitting next to. That in itself should be a crime. I'm just so disappointed that Japan did not put him in prison. Let me go through some of the comments here. So in Chiba, dude, stop showing the address. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. By the time you go all the way out to Chiba, I'm gone. So I kind of know what I'm doing in that respect. I think I was live streaming for 30 minutes. I was in Motayawata, which is in Ishikawa City. It takes from Shinjuku about 45 minutes and then about 6 or 7 minutes to get to where I was, and I was long gone, so there's no way you would have been able to have caught me unless you were really hustling. Taxi would have even been slower. But I put some thought into that. AZN Dragon, I saw your super chats on Legal Mindset as well. It's nice to talk with you. It happened worse before this year's Sapporo Snow Festival. Yes. Also, they wanted to stay within 80 days. They take a ferry to South Korea for a day or two and restart the visa and then go. There's an MO to this. There's a method to the way that they do this. I think as Ice Poseidon, and I got a comment from another live stream from a viewer who wrote about that I wasn't talking honestly about Ice Poseidon, and I do have to be careful about that. I don't know all the facts because I don't watch his live streams. I got to be honest. I just see the clips, and that's not I should get the entire story. But the fact is that Ice Poseidon is not live streaming on YouTube like I am right now. He's not live streaming on Twitch. The reason why he's been kicked off those platforms because he's been doing not really nice stuff. So if he were not a Nuisance streamer, he'd be streaming on YouTube like I am right now. That's a fact. So I can stick with the facts right now. You were watching me legal. I admit I'm a fan of Andrew's. I'm watching his stuff, and I love the fact that he focuses on Asia, and he focuses on crime, and he focuses on the law, and he does a lot of research. It's very well thought out, better than my stuff. So I mean, he's really good at what he does, and he does it indoors and not out on the street. So I'm sure. And Atozi also, I saw that they were there, covering the court case. It's very significant. In particular, I think Andrew is the creator of the YouTube channel Legal Mindset, and I think it's really interesting to watch that channel if you're interested in what's going on in the IRL world legally, because there's so much gray area. I think they're breaking so many laws. It might be interesting to talk with Legal Mindset. Okay, yeah, another comment here talking about my quote-unquote undisclosed location. They found out where exactly I am, which is, and I'm putting this in there because you have to consider, people are pretty sharp. When you're walking around the streets in Tokyo, they can see the address on the telephone poles and on the vending machines. The address of your location is written there. So it's something that I know about this. So it's something you have to be careful about. It's very easy to find out where a person is by just looking at the store addresses as you pass them, or the name of the stores for that matter. Why are you afraid to call out the racism behind these live streamers? There are reasons why there aren't acting like this in other countries. I'm not afraid to do it. I think, and that's a really good question. I'm not afraid to do it. I just don't know enough about, see, I mean, first of all, I've heard racist stuff, but I don't know if they're racist. It's something in Japan I think we're really careful about, because in Japan, to call somebody out, to slander them is a crime. And even after I lost my channel in 2020, trust me, I wanted to say a lot more than I said, but I don't see any value in doing that. It doesn't really help the situation. If you already know that these live streamers are awful racist people, then I don't have to say anything more, really. Then you already know, that's already what you believe. But honestly, I don't watch all of their live streams, so I don't know. And here's a fact for you. Well, I don't know if it's a fact. It could. These live streamers, if the camera when you see Johnny Somali at the 7-Eleven and he's live streaming and he's throwing noodles outside and he's spilling everything on there, do you think he would have done that if he had no camera on him? Actually, Johnny Somali, he might have. But the vast majority of these nuisance streamers don't do that when the camera is off. They do it to entertain the viewers on the other side when the camera is on. That's the only reason that they do it. So I don't know if that makes them, racist. It's such a complex thing. Legal Mindset probably knows a little bit about this, but living in Asia for more than half my life, it's probably something I try to avoid confrontation. It's hard to do it. Like, how do you thread the needle with this one? It's really hard. Not embarrassing. It was assault on the wound when Johnny said the World War II terms. Yeah, that's. I don't know why. Look, the people who are so obsessed with what happened 80 years ago are like in this. He wasn't. His parents weren't even alive when World War II was taking place. So I mean, like, this is such ancient history to bring that up now. It's only usually Americans that bring up Pearl Harbor on December 9th. To me, I went to Pearl Harbor. I'm making an episode on the firebombing of Tokyo, so I'm very much I'm no master of World War II, but I know quite a bit about the Pacific Front after studying it for the last 2 years on this episode. And this is 80 years ago. This is ancient history. To bring it up, a lot of the Japanese have moved on from this kind of stuff. Right now, Japan is the biggest ally of the United States. Right? It doesn't make a lot of sense to keep dragging this stuff through the mud here. I went to Pearl Harbor. I was shedding tears. I was with Brandania, who took me there, one of our viewers. It was really, really hard to see the images and the stories from the young the survivors of it, what had happened. It's very good for me to hear that kind of stuff, to see that kind of stuff, to understand about World War II, to understand both sides of it. So, when Johnny Somali brings that stuff up, obviously he's not been to Hiroshima or Nagasaki or Pearl Harbor. He knows very little about the history. He's just being an instigator because a video camera is on him and he's trying to get an emotion out of you. But what he doesn't realize, because he's too young, is that you're not going to get a lot of support for that kind of stuff. You just aren't. I don't know. I like this comment. I kind of like the critical comments. There's always some sort of truth in most of them. What I'm writing, I don't think this is too critical, is not a criticism of you personally, but the live streaming and the intrusive vlogging has gone way too far. Totally agree. If you treat Japan, its cities, its culture, and people as an amusement park populated by cartoon figures and fast food joints, this is to be expected. Vloggers and streamers pry on daily life. Yeah, IRL means in real life. And behave as if any poorly educated adolescent, like a teenager. Exactly. Hanging in packs like kids, doing bad things to impress one another, with a camera and very narrow linguistic skills from an imperialistic country, has privileges. I totally agree with this. I'm not an IRL streamer. I'm not a vlogger. I do this, I explained this yesterday. I started this before there was any, you couldn't really monetize live streams when I started in 2017. I did it to keep me company when I was hitchhiking. I remember this is before super chats, before memberships, before there were so many ways to monetize. There was no money in it, so nobody did it, right? Now there's money in it. There's Kick, there's Rumble, there's so many different platforms now. There's money, because there's money in it, people do it. There's no money in it when I did it, because I just wanted to do it to try to get content out to viewers more, and as a way to enhance my main channel, which is where I was getting ad revenue from. I was making money off of the ad revenue, and I had what I thought was a good relationship with another company. It didn't all work out. That's all ancient history. Lawyers were involved. Tell me about it. So, I remember when I first got a super chat, what is this? This colored thing popped up on it. Corinthian writes in here, I think the Korean trial of Ramses Johnny will have a large impact on House. I absolutely think so. I know it will have a precedence for Korea and how this stuff is prosecuted, and I think it's really good, and they should throw the book at him and make him an example. Thank you for that. I really agree with you, and I'm really watching this because it's so important that Korea do what Japan didn't do. Let them go. Let them go. I remember when I got the first super chat and it came up and I was like, wait, what? And it was like something, go to a vending machine and have a drink. I was really confused. And then I saw that YouTube had shown about this like a few months ago and said they were rolling this out. And again, there weren't a lot of YouTube live streamers at the time. I was hitchhiking, so I wasn't looking at the news. I was like, whoa, it changes everything when this kind of money and tips and super chats and starts coming in for you to do stuff, to impact a route. In fact, I think when YouTube showed this technology in 2017 or 2018, I think one of the first things they did was show that a super chatter could impact in real time how an interaction could go, and that was really interesting. I'm sure they didn't think this through and see that it could also go to bad behavior and initiate speakers blaring in subway trains, showing how stupid people can be. But that we've come quite a long way with this medium, which is, I think, is very toxic right now. What I'm doing, I think, is very toxic. I've got people looking at me, and I can tell in my first live streams in 2017 in Kumamoto, people were jumping in the live streams because I was doing something interesting and curious that seemed like from abroad, and they all wanted to be supportive of it. Nowadays, people are avoiding the live streams and trying to get out of it, and it's completely changed, mostly because you're seeing stuff on the news here, and I think this is the point. Live streaming is bad. Live streaming is toxic. News media starts off with live streaming in the middle of a live stream, which is a fact, but that's not all the facts, and I think it's a really tough thing for this medium, and it just goes into the last 2 months, which is, this is a toxic thing. If I ever visit Japan again, if I ever do find you, the only thing I'll do is to say to you hi and give you a manly hug. I've had some big bear hugs, and I'm sure when we see Tim from Wisconsin, I'm gonna get a big bear hug too. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, absolutely. I've gotten hundreds, if not thousands, of hugs. I've given out thousands of handshakes. I've given out at least 500 "You Found Me" cards because I'm out of them. I think I got a couple of them here, some of them at home. So absolutely. I mean, do come and say hi. I think the majority of people are not going to attack me. So, but there's always that. But my point was this. And Wayne, thank you for that. I will absolutely get a drink after this. I'm going to make it a coffee. I'll make it a grande. I think I need it. My point was this with the live stream, and I want to get into some of your questions here. Let me put this to the side for a second. My point is this. As the Japanese media shows live streaming, live streamer killed, live streamer attacked, live streamer doing something bad, live streamer, nama haishin chu, nama haishin, YouTuber. It goes into the perception that this is a negative and toxic medium. And whether or not you think you agree with that, it doesn't matter. I'm here in Japan, I'm doing it, I feel it. I know that it has changed. It has changed over the since Johnny Somali. It was really hard. I've already told you about this, guys. When I was here, when Logan Paul, right? Or is it Paul Logan? Because we do the last name first, it's confused. Logan Paul? So it's like two first names. When Logan Paul did it, I had trouble getting access and permission to make my episodes because people heard YouTuber, and all of a sudden the Japanese public, because YouTube had been cast in such a negative light, it really set YouTube back like years in Japan. This is a true story. I had people turning me down for when I made a request to film. There's an okonomiyaki shop in Tokyo I wanted to introduce. They said no. Where else was there? A museum, typically they'd say yes. I had one person call and cancel because they said, oh, so you're a YouTuber. I used to say initially that I was an NHK World reporter, which get my foot in the door, which is true. But I think you have to have some credibility in order to get access. Why would they give you access if they can't trust that you're going to do a good job with the content that they allow you access to film? So saying YouTuber was really bad. Then a couple of years later, saying YouTuber was good, as YouTube had such a positive meaning. Then Johnny Somali and the Nuisance streamers, which happened after the pandemic, and all of a sudden YouTuber is becoming a negative, a toxic thing, and it's really hard. I think we'll get over this, but it seems my point was when the media writes YouTuber, live streamer, and she wasn't even streaming on live on YouTube, but the perception is, YouTube when you say live streamer. Lawmakers, the older generation, which don't know the memes, they don't know what's going on, all of a sudden they crack down hard on it, in particular when somebody dies, and we have a death now. So I'm going to be keeping my ear onto how this is working out, but it is different than your take. My take is different, and that's why I give my take. There's a stark difference between a travel vlog to an IRL vlog. I agree with this. Could see a clampdown on IRL vlogging. I think so too. I think that there's good. I don't know if lawmakers are going to differentiate. I hope that they find a way to do that. How do you differentiate between it? It's really hard. One of the comments that I got was people should have a license to do a live streaming. Like how would that even work? It's an interesting idea, because getting a license or getting accreditation, like a diploma, means something different in Japan than it does in other countries, but I'm not sure how that would work. How do you do it from abroad? You have to do it online, take a test. How would you enforce it? They can't even enforce the no drinking on the streets that they have in Shibuya during some of the events. Chan writes in here, our good friend Chan, stuck in a trunk. You are an example of a good YouTube and streamer, so keep doing what you're doing. Unfortunately, there will always be bad eggs in the group. And in Japan, risk avoidance means not seeing the rewards of stuff, but seeing the risks. And even if you're good, you're still a risk because you're doing this. That's sort of my point with the toxicity, and that's why I talk about it. Asian Dragon writes in here, Andrew from Legal Mindset is now based in Thailand. You can ask him to see if you guys can do an interview like Otozi. Yeah, sure, absolutely. You know what? I hope he comes to Japan. I really hope he comes to Japan. I think we're good. I think there's going to be court cases and battles, and there's going to be stuff going on in the near future. It seems like this isn't going away. So if Legal Mindset ever comes to Japan, I will absolutely be very happy to meet him and hang out and discuss this kind of stuff, because it's fascinating for me and has a direct impact on what I do. Asian Dragon, thank you so much. I would probably see your comments even without the super chats, but it does mean a lot. So I do appreciate it. Let me see if I can go back and get some of them. Walter L. Walters is here. Thank you for all that you do. You are a shining example of the good. This is our community chiming in. We have such a positive, such a wonderful community. I'm so proud of it. Our moderators are really good. They're always looking out for me. They're always looking out for you. When we get people here that are arguing, they're thinking about me as much as they're thinking about you. We've got good people here. That's a difference. The kind of content that you make also determines the kind of community that you have. Ramsey Silent is here. You're getting a bear hug. I can't wait when you come and have little Leo look. Ramsey Silent's like over 2 meters tall, I believe, right? Ramsey Silent is a big guy. I can't wait to have Leo going like this. Actually, Andrew from Legal Mindset's a pretty big guy. We saw him in his Matrix outfit at the trial. That was pretty cool. Nihon Neo, for some new You Found Me cards. Thank you. I will absolutely have them ready with me. I think they're in a box somewhere. I have so many things in my office here. Skew SME. Thank you for that as well. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody, because I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Let me look at some more comments here. Let me bring it up for you. Politely retitled, Japan live streamer stabbed over unpaid loan. Yeah, the thing yesterday, there was a lot of updates coming in with the information. We just didn't know. I think even at this stage, we don't know yet either what's going on with this, all of the details. I'm just gonna let investigators investigate. I've already talked about it, but I'm gonna let investigators investigate this and then get to the bottom of it. And I really don't wanna talk about this. But I think overall, yesterday's occurrence, this is on actually March 11th, it really does have an impact, and you don't see it yet. It does have an impact on live streaming. It does have an impact on what I'm doing, and it will play. Even Legal Mindset yesterday, or I think when ANZ Dragon or somebody gave a super chat and talked about this, he made a mention that the laws might change as a result of this. when somebody dies in Japan, this is the same with the Mario Karts and the people who ride around the city that probably shouldn't be doing that. Once a death occurs, everything changes. Then that gray area disappears or becomes so narrow. And this is what scares me, because as somebody who enjoys having a beer outside during the cherry blossoms, I rarely drink alcohol now, but like during the cherry blossoms, I usually have these like little teeny beers that are like 3 ounces drinking out of the front. I don't drink a lot of alcohol now, but I mean, I like to have that right, that privilege. And it's that gray area is getting more and more, is narrower and narrower because it's getting abused. And I think that we might see, like, it's just not working. It causes more problems than not. And that's when that gray area in Japan, we start to lose it and it becomes black and white. And Japanese citizens are very aware of what's happening because the news media won't let you forget it. The news media is writing about this stuff. Every time the Johnny Somali case, you could see him, the news media is there taking pictures of him. He had that perp walk. He had that picture where he gets into the back of the police car and they got the flash bulb, and there he was looking at cameras with that. It was a smile of an evil person. I have to be honest with you. If you ever take a look at his mug shot, his perp walk shot inside the police car, it's a shot of a very evil, not repenting. He absolutely no remorse for what he did, no shame. There's a lot more I want to say about this, but I'm kind of biting my tongue. Does go to Japan and works there as well. Oh, are you going, Amanda? Are you talking about yourself? You're going to Japan and works there as well? I think I might be reading that wrong. Somali was the beneficiary of, this is one I don't know about, and it's not coming from me, but somebody in California apparently, that Ambassador Rahm Emanuel, who I've heard speak here, he's a very smart guy. I doubt that he got involved in this. I doubt it, but his job is to look out for American citizens if someone gets arrested, so I don't think he contacted him personally. Probably somebody from the embassy reached out, I'm sure. But I doubt that there was intervention, but nobody has reported this. And I don't know if the ambassador had alluded to it. He's no longer the ambassador anymore. Japan folded, because we've seen him on podcasts and stuff back in the US. Japan folded because they were brought into the racial aspect. I doubt it. I haven't heard this, but I'd like to, if you have proof on it, please. Oh, Andrew. Oh, okay, well, if Andrew comes, thank you, Amanda. If Andrew comes, you didn't have to do super chat for that. I might have figured it out. Absolutely, get in touch. I would love to just meet you and say hi, if anything. Alpha writes in here, Japan is too meek, polite, non-confrontational for their own good. They need to figure out these losers, see them as weak and easy victims. This is such a true thing here. This is a huge problem, and it's not a problem. All right, 2 cents here. It's disgusting what these IRL streamers are doing, and Somali sadly started it, showing the kindness of Japan. This goes in with that last comment. It's not a problem. It is just the way that the people in Japan are. They don't know what you're saying. You're holding a camera to them. They're not going to punch you in the face. They're confused. They're embarrassed. They can't get out of it. They're stuck and trapped. And it is, for me, as someone who lives here, it is the most painful feeling in the world when I watch that, and he's sitting down with an old lady and just saying stupid things. Like, oh man, as somebody who, like, my heart is here in Japan. I've been here for a long time. I gotta tell you that my heart just dropped into my stomach. It was the most disgusting thing. A lot of you were saying that he's such a disgusting person. You know who I was thinking about? That lady that he was sitting next to and was embarrassing. And then when that guy, apparently he was Korean, right? American from Texas, no, of Korean descent. And Johnny Somali got very racist in that. He came in and helped. I might have done the same thing in that situation, just because my heart was in my stomach watching that lady getting berated by this streamer who did not know what the hell he was doing here. The thing is, these live streamers, IRL streamers, go to Singapore and do this. Go to the Middle East and do this. You know why they don't do it? You want to get media attention? Go to a place that they're going to cane you and do it, and then you can show your cane marks. I'd love to see it. I love Singapore. It is one of my favorite countries. It is really harsh on penalties, and for Singapore citizens, whether you love it or not, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. I remember when an American got caned for vandalism, I was like, he's never gonna do that again, because I don't do anything wrong, so I'm never gonna get caned in Singapore. But my God, that teenager, he's not gonna forget it. And having the US State Department intervene to get, it was a cruel and unusual punishment, I don't think so. I think caning is, you're not gonna forget it. You're gonna remember pain more than, for a lot of people, than a financial hit. Or for some people, jail time, you know? I don't know how to feel about that, but that's one, if you grew up in the 80s, it was in the 80s or in the 90s, you don't forget about the diplomat's son, I think it was, who vandalized a car and was caned. And there was a debate whether or not he'd be caned. I think they reduced the amount of canings that he got. Johnny Somali, go get caned, all right? Forget Korea, it's taken too long. Singapore, I think they would hand it down pretty quickly. Nobody goes and does IRL nuisance streaming in Singapore. There's a lot of, you know why? Because they respect Singapore. I'm afraid to bring bubble gum into Singapore. I think it's still banned. People were putting gum on the subway trains to protest, and then would open up, and so they banned gum. So I remember traveling, I don't know how long ago this was, I remember traveling to Singapore, I think it was in the 2000s, 1999. I was traveling from Bali to Singapore, and I heard about it, and I threw all I always carry gum, because if I can't brush my teeth, at least I have some gum. I threw the gum away before I got on the plane, because I had enough respect for Singapore not to bring any gum. Like, I didn't want anything to do with it. I knew about it, I threw it away. You respect the laws of the country. They don't do it in Singapore, because you respect it, because they're harsh on it. Japan is not. So this goes back to the story from yesterday. The story that she took the money from him, and when he wanted it back, she refused. It's not any random streamer getting stabbed. I don't think you have to worry about it. It wasn't really, initially the shock of it was that I was quite worried about yesterday, because it brings up a really interesting point, you know? Like, when you're doing this, people are different. I'm no different. It's hard. I'm no different right now in front of the camera than I am in person. And I think that's part of the thing. You can't fake live streaming. One of my friends, very big YouTuber on the platform, he did a live stream from me. Paolo, I could say Paolo. He did a live stream with me about 5 years ago, and we were in Hibiya Park, and I think it was 2018. And I remember what he said. He goes, before we started, he goes, I can't do live streams. It's really hard. I don't know if I want to do this. I said, just be yourself. Just talk like you're talking to a friend, and say what comes naturally. If you're a good person, then nothing can really go wrong. But don't worry too much about it. Everything's going to be good. And he's a good person. He's a really good person. And that's the first and I think last live stream that he's ever done ever since. I think that's the last live stream he's ever done. But we both, I mean, I didn't know how it would go, but he was really nice to do that together with me, and we talked about a lot of stuff back in the day, and it's interesting to go and rewatch that. But you know, live streaming is not for everybody. But the majority of the people that do the live streaming now, first of all, you have to have you have to have nerves of steel, right? To do this, it was really embarrassing when I started. You're walking around with a phone. Most people didn't really care, but you're worried about what other people think the longer you live in Japan. It's that social pressure that keeps everybody in line. The reason why they return the wallet when you drop it is not just because that they're honest people. It's because if they pick it up and they put it in their pocket, the guilt and the shame of having something that somebody may have seen them pick up the wallet is so much that they return it. That's what I've been told by people in Japan, and I feel that too. There's a level of shame and guilt, and you feel that, and that's why society sort of works the way it does. Paolo following people in their work is interesting. Where is the live stream with Paolo? It's on this channel. Great, really good guy. I haven't seen him in years because we're just so busy. Georgette Love, thank you, from New Zealand. One's 2 cents. As someone that visits Japan for work and family every year, it hurts my soul, and it also makes people more leery because I am white. It's noticeable, but to be honest, I do not blame them at this point. I guess for the IRL streaming, there's this thing, now we're getting off of the point a little bit. I think we've already gotten off the point enough where I could probably go off on a tangent here. You're a tourist here, first of all, if you come here to Japan, and Japan is very hospitable to tourists. You're a visitor here. You're gonna get first class service 99% of the time. There's always, it's a big country, there's always a situation where things might go wrong. Second, I remember when I went to Hiroshima, I don't know what it is, there's some sort of guilt. Some people have this, where you feel bad for other people, and then you worry about that. It happened 80 years ago. People have moved on. I was worried living in Hiroshima. I said, well, dang, U.S. dropped the atomic bomb in Hiroshima. Like at the time it was like 58 years ago. I can't believe it. Like half a century ago. And I wonder if people are really upset about it if I say I'm American. Absolutely not the case. The exact opposite, right? People don't feel the same way. So there's no reason to feel guilt about this color of your skin or anything like that. 99.9% of the perceived racism in Japan has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them, of course, if there's racism. But it's not what you think it is. 99% of the time, it's not what you think it is. I remember I was in a shopping. I was in a shop when I first came to Japan 26 years ago. Not a lot of foreigners here. 27 years ago, whatever it is. I was in a supermarket in the countryside. Little kid standing there. I guess he was away from his mom. I came around the turn. I was like aisle 7, and there he is. He's holding, I don't know, some snacks, and he's having fun. He turns around and he sees this foreigner, and he stops in his tracks, completely ghosted, like that. He couldn't move, frozen. And then I'm not joking, it just starts to pour from his pants. He pees right there in the aisle, dripping, puddle. His mother didn't quite see it yet. He's still frozen. Then I see his face changing like this. It's so emblazoned in my mind. I'm also frozen, like there's somebody looking at me like I'm frozen too. And then you start to see the face change like, and then the tears start coming and he starts bawling and he doesn't know how to react. He's scared. He doesn't run to mom and he doesn't run towards me. He's just frozen. He'd never seen a foreigner in his life. This is an island. A lot of the countryside, especially back then, had never seen a non-Japanese person. And I think he was like 4. He'd just gotten off of diapers. And the mother was apologizing to me, clean up on aisle 7. I didn't know what to do. I started helping the mopping. I thought it was my fault. It wasn't. I'm apologizing to the mother. She's apologizing to me. The store owner is apologizing to both of us. Why is he apologizing? The kid is still crying. The mother takes him outside, leaves the cart there. I'm feeling like, boy, should I buy her groceries? I feel really bad about it. What should I do in this situation? In the end, is that racism? I mean, I think what a lot of people perceive as racism is not racism in the sense that an American would see it. So it's a word that's thrown around way too much in the United States. And when it's thrown around like that, it loses its meaning. Now we're getting off of the point and into just random talking. I got more comments here. Let's see here. All right, I showed that one. This is a long one. I understand your concerns, but I think you are excessively thinking about it. This incident was not the same as some annoying IRL streamer getting stabbed. I think if you watch the whole stream, you kind of get what I was talking about. This happened because it was likely a culprit obsessed. So a lot of people, I get this comment probably the most, and initially the live stream started off like that, but it turned into live streaming is toxic. What I'm doing right now is toxic. in the eyes of a lot of people because it's being portrayed like that in the media. It had nothing to do with the stabbing and the killing and this. The media is portraying it as a live streaming, YouTuber, and when it's said in such a negative light, it is just compounded by what the nuisance streamers has come. So in that sense, you put the two together. I'm going from the opinion of how people here are seeing it. Baba Cola, stream sniping is a real issue that is going from trolling to violence. You know, my stream snipers are non-violent. And they want to get a "you found me" card. People ask me, can I come and say hi? I'm like, sure. I never really see the worst in people, and maybe I think after this stuff like this happens, then you sort of let that in a little bit. But I don't want it to be the reason why I would stop doing this. And from the comments yesterday, people don't want it to be either. IRL streaming is going from sorry, I just moved here. Going from that viral fame to causing more extreme stunts. Stream sniping is a thing. I remember the first time it happened, I was freaked out. Some dude was in the background watching his phone, and he kept looking up at me and looking at his phone, looking up at me. It's like, what is that dude doing? Just come and say hi, right? It's like that awkward person that, if I was a girl and he was a guy, now I know how some women might feel, where this guy's like looking at you and you know he wants to ask you out or something, but he's like not doing it. Yeah, and then when he finally comes, of course you're gonna say no, because I don't want to spend my time with that kind of person. Like a point of view of a woman, right? There you go. But look, if you see somebody, you always act naturally, right? I mean, your initial reaction is to come and say hi, maybe shake hands, and I'm fine taking a picture. You're gonna get the peace symbol. That's what we do here. You know, say hi to the people watching. I'm gonna be acting normal. I don't really change when I meet celebrities or people. I don't get a little starstruck, a little bit, but I don't really change who I am. I change based on the situation, but you treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Internet autism is there. I never heard that term before. That how Johnny Somali was found by a pizza box that gave Korean YouTubers to find. People are, look, if you're a bad dude, I think this is from my comments from, I'm trying to find it. I think I'd copy and paste it, but one of them was really a good comment here. It's hard to find here. I'm just kind of going through it. Yeah, maybe I didn't take it, but like we got hundreds of comments yesterday, and the vast majority of them says, like, if you're not doing anything negative, people aren't going to come and try to murder you. And I get that, but it's still, I think, and my point yesterday was the whole stream. The thing that I think you need to take away from it is that the way that live streaming and YouTube is being perceived in Japan in the media as a result of the nuisance streamer, as a result of the death of the 2 days ago now, as a result of ongoing stuff, as a result of Ice Poseidon getting stopped by the Coast Guard and being asked to leave whether he did it or not, crimes or not, it doesn't matter. When the media gets into this and they portray it as a negative thing, millions and millions and millions of people around Japan are watching, and 99.999% of the Japanese that you walk past are not going to be violent to you, but there's a 0.0001%, 1 in 1,000, that might be triggered by this and get upset and do something violent. Or I've had it happen in live streams, and I'm very respectful to the person. I put the camera down or I turn it off. I talk with them, and the first thing I do is I apologize. My intent was not to do that. I show them the video. I do not, I purposely aim the camera down whenever I can when I'm walking, trying not to get people, not to snipe them. I'm very considerate when I do this. It's not perfect. It is a gray area. It really is. It's a gray thing, and I'm able to get out of it. I know another live streamer, Japanese live streamer, has been confronted when he was in Osaka. Osaka is probably the toughest, where they take you to the police. They feel like their privacy has been violated. And then in that case, you are at the disadvantage. You are the one being accused. You better apologize. You better do whatever you can to get out of that situation. And you better show humility and not take the opposite, because it does not work in your favor. This is Japan. It works the opposite of, everything works the opposite to the way that it would work in the United States here. That's a safe assumption that you can do with most Asian countries, but in particular with Japan. I encouraged Rion. He was one of the people who got in trouble in Osaka. And Japan Explorer during a festival this past summer. All were polite when I said hi. Just have to be respectful, and that's just be yourself, right? Just be yourself. So I think that that's the way to go with that. Any questions from the live stream before we end this? I'm really appreciate the support, guys. And as you're watching, I think he's doing Google Earth. I think he's doing Google Earth. Do you see the stick behind me? He's got a 360 camera and he's walking around taking pictures in a symmetrical walk. That's odd. Is that odd? Hold on a second. What's he doing there? This seems to be making no sense to me. What do you guys think? Is that like a Google Earth thing? Interesting. I didn't know. I like sitting outside. You get to see stuff, right? Yeah, that's the one. Boba Cola, I think remember the same one. I remember viewers, my moderators talked about that too. So it's something that you have to be very considerate about in Japan. You show a lot of respect. When you're doing live streaming in Japan, you have to be respectful of your environment and the people around you. It's a 360 video. It looks like it's something, a car can't be doing Google Street View here, so it would be somebody walking doing Google Street View. When Ice Poseidon said sumimasen, I thought he meant excuse me, not sorry. He said sumimasen in Korea to the taxi driver. I thought that was interesting. Like, Japanese and Korean are two different languages. Is that true? Because I say gomenasai for sorry. Actually, I would say if you bump into somebody or do something bad, I say shitsure shimasu, like I apologize for my rudeness. But you can also say gomenasai. And sumimasen is usually, I say that to call attention. Or it can also be the same used as excuse me, but a more polite form would be shitsure shimasu. Shitsure means rude. Shitsure shimashita. I'm sorry for I was rude. And I say that mostly if I'm bumping into people, like on a train or something. Train sways, I hit someone, shitsure shimashita. Like this. But I saw Ice Poseidon was using Japanese words he used in Korea at the taxi. I was like, what? What's going on? Interesting. I don't watch this stuff. It's like, they're like clips, but I want to know what's going on because the bad behavior, I get asked about it and it will eventually come back and impact me. So I have to find ways and measures to take to continuously to do this. But for those who don't know, my main focus is on edited videos, which I've been doing for a very long time. If you haven't already, go check this one out. I have one on, I have to plug it a little bit. I have one with my friend Matt Alt talking about Tokyo as a travel hub on this channel. Only a couple thousand people saw that one. That was a really good one. A lot of people have been talking about a lot of issues going on in Japan. A lot of people have been talking about the earthquakes that are possibly happening with the fault line. Every time there's an earthquake, the Nankai megaquake, it kind of went away. Now people are starting to talk about it again little by little. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Japan. But the most dangerous thing about Japan, not the live streamers, not the people, but the earthquakes. And it is the scariest thing. I didn't talk about it this year, I will next year. But I was here for the 2011 Tohoku earthquake. And I'll wait till the 15th. Next year is 15 years. I'll wait until then to really talk about it and maybe make an episode on it. But that was, I've already talked about it in length, but there's a lot more I could probably talk about. I'm still traumatized by the strength and the power and the helplessness. And I think that plays into Japanese society. All these people here know. We're all together in that, right? Sorry, it doesn't matter who you are. doesn't matter where you are, if the big quake occurs, we're all going to feel it and we're all going to be in the same situation, and we're all kind of united in an unspoken kind of a fraternity here, sorority, I don't know, of people that will feel that earthquake and try to do everything we can to help one another, our brothers and sisters, in the case of a natural disaster. So like if you haven't ever felt an earthquake, you don't feel how, and Californians are like, yeah. But if you have never felt a very strong earthquake, I'm telling you right now, it's something that brings people together extremely fast. And you remember your humanity, you remember how precious life is. That's why maybe there's not a lot of murder and death, and makes everything that you're doing so small. It makes everything, when you feel a strong earthquake, you realize how small you are and how important it is to be connected with the people around you. And if there's a positive that I've gotten from earthquakes, is that I treat people a lot better, because I know after suffering through the earthquake, going up and seeing how it impacted the people up in Tohoku, like you see people differently. You want to help people. After such awful, the tsunami, all this stuff, volcanic eruptions, landslides, we got so many natural disasters here that happen so often. It's something that we think about in Japan, and this is probably why people are the way that they are in some respect. But I think that's one thing that, Baba Cola, thank you. I got to speak with the principal of the elementary school in Sendai that survived. Wow. But on a positive note, buy something for your family. Thank you. I will get, Baba Cola, tomorrow is my son's birthday, and we're gonna be buying a cake, and I'm gonna put, so we'll say thank you to you when we blow out the candles, because I'm gonna put some of that into Leo's birthday cake and let the missus know. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much. I'm glad that you got a chance to go to Sendai. I'm glad that you got a chance to go to Tohoku. Deep in my heart as somebody who lived in Fukushima. And God, I don't want to talk about it. I still got so many, I'm still traumatized by it. I lived in Fukushima, in Iwaki, very close to where the meltdown was. The way that the media just said Fukushima, Fukushima, Fukushima so much broke my heart, because the prefecture is one of the biggest in Japan. There's so much to it. You go out to the mountains of it, unaffected by any sort of what happened on that day, but it destroyed the reputation of the great prefecture of Fukushima, and to this day it breaks my heart the way that it is still portrayed and seen. Again, I've been here for most of my life now. God, I love Fukushima. It was just awful, and I'm glad that you got a chance to go to Miyagi, to Sendai, and talk to people. I think that's great. Thank you. And go to Tohoku. It's one of the most untouched, beautiful places in Japan. And discounts on the JR Rail Pass, getting up there, GR East Rail Pass. Jody is from Scandinavia, right? I know, I don't want to say it. All right, anybody, I got to get back home. But thanks for spending an hour with me. I was here to buy the stamps for the postcard club. These are some really beautiful. So these will go on this month's postcard club. These are some really beautiful stamps for Hokkaido. Look at that one from Furano. That's really pretty. You might get one of these stamps on your postcard for the Patreon supporters. But there's Hokkaido cheese, penguins. They got penguins up there. So I thought this was really nice. So I'm gonna put those on our postcards for this month. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. All right, guys. All right, have a good afternoon. I'll continue live streaming, but I will be taking more precautions, maybe not announce them so far in advance, things like that. But yeah, I won't talk about this topic anymore, about what happened in Takadanobaba, because that's like that kind of a crime, that kind of a thing. It's just, I don't really, it's a hard thing, but it does impact live streaming, whether or not you see it, but I see it and I feel it, and I know the media has a big impact on it, and I just hope that the lawmakers find a way to differentiate what happened there, what happened with nuisance streamers, and what I'm doing right now, because I think it's a net benefit, but in Japan we see the risks over the rewards, and I might become then I'm just going to go to podcasting. I'm not going to stop. So thanks for the support, guys. I'm not going to be stopping doing this. All right, Saya, 4th birthday. Saya, 4th. He was born in 2021, so thanks, Saya. Take care, guys. Mata ne.